Mark Donfried, Director of Institute of Cultural Diplomacy in Berlin and founder of this Institute of Cultural Diplomacy in Berlin. Mark Donfried is an American, but let me to share with you a detail in Mark's biography. The subject of his doctoral PhD thesis in Paris was jazz diplomacy after Second World War. You have the floor, Mark.
President Emil Constantinescu, His Royal Highness Prince Radu of Romania, His Excellency Professor Dr. Adrian Curaj, the Minister of Education of Romania, Rector Dumitru, close partner and friend, Rector also of the University of Bucharest. It is really an honor for me to be here today to welcome you for a number of reasons for the International Symposium on Cultural Diplomacy in Romania, looking in particular at cultural diplomacy and higher education. Allow me to first express our sincere gratitude at the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy to three institutions. First of all, of course, thank you for the leadership of President Emil Constantinescu, serving simultaneously as the President of the Academy for Cultural Diplomacy and, of course, the President of the Romanian Foundation for Democracy, our close partner in arranging this conference and this entire weekend. Thank you also very much to Professor Dr. Mircu Dumitru, Romulus Brocoveniu, and all of our colleagues and friends at the University of Bucharest. It is again a privilege to have this cooperation with you today, this weekend, and we have a very, very bright future of additional programs and the campus in Berlin and much, much more to come with the University of Bucharest. And in addition, I'd like to express our sincere gratitude to the National School for Political and Administrative Studies for the great support that they've offered this entire trip for the weekend. So thank you very much to everyone also in the National School for Political and Administrative Studies, where we also hope we can develop similar initiatives and cooperation in a sustainable way for hopefully many years. Ladies and gentlemen, at the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy, we're convinced that the future of cultural diplomacy is actually going to be less about speaking and much more about listening, in the sense, how can we build this understanding and this trust that everyone was actually referring to? And I think very important for that, for diplomacy, but in particular cultural diplomacy, we have to be better listeners. We have to really get to know our audiences, get to know our partners. So I think that will be a radical change that we will see in the newer forms of cultural diplomacy. In that spirit, I also came here today, not to give a speech, but really to listen and to actually learn from our colleagues here. I'd like to just share two very small reflections with you, things that I think we should point out. One reference actually I'd like to make is to the speech of the Minister of Education, where I thought he was right on point. And another point I want also to mention, just to alert you for what you should be looking for during this trip here in Romania. As President Constantinescu said, I founded the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy in 1999. At that time, there was hardly any research in the world when it came to cultural diplomacy. There were no educational programs. If you wanted to study cultural diplomacy, you couldn't. And in terms of institutions, primarily at the time, the only institutions really that were doing cultural diplomacy were from the public sector. Really in the classical sense of the word, soft power. How do we win the hearts and minds of foreign audiences? The references that were made, Goethe Institute, British Council, etc. And there was really a gap. There was not a non-governmental, non-partisan organization looking more at the bridges in between than actually the traffic that goes on the bridges. And that's the niche that we've been trying to fill. In the process of trying to fill that niche, I must say there's one country that has really stood out for me as a country that, for me, I think is the leader, clearly, in the field of cultural diplomacy, and it's actually Romania. Not only in terms of the Romanian Cultural Institute, Romanian diplomacy, which in many ways I think is held close to its heart and to its strategy culture. But in particular, Romania is actually serving the country which has actually created the academic field of cultural diplomacy under your leadership, President Constantinescu. The first BA program in the world in cultural diplomacy, the first MA program in the world, the first MBA, the first PhD, all started in Romania. The first accredited programs in the world. So in that sense, we can, I think, easily say the field of cultural diplomacy actually has its roots here. So we continue to be grateful as an institute and also I speak on behalf of really the field of cultural diplomacy to Romania for having shown that courage and that leadership at a time when many, including my own country, which you made reference to, are actually cutting cultural diplomacy and doing less and less. Romania said, no, we need to do the opposite, and we need to do more and more, and we need to actually help educating the future. You made reference to the 30 students that are here. Almost each of them is from a different country. That just shows you how the ripple effect really can grow. From this initiative that started way back when in Cluj, University of Babeș-Bolyai, to have now continued University of Bucharest, and actually over 8 universities now in the world with similar programs. But I just wanted to make reference to the fact it all began in Romania, and in many ways that gratitude, I think, is felt not only by us, but also the faculty, the students, and all those who are trying to pursue more research and teaching in the field of cultural diplomacy. So that was the first reflection I just wanted to make, just to really show why actually we're doing this conference here and why I'm really eager to learn also over the next few days from all the experts who are here, as well as to our other visits in other parts of Romania before the trip concludes on Tuesday of next week. The second point that I wanted to make was actually inspired a little bit by the Minister of Education when he made reference to Diaspora 2.0. We do a lot of work also at the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy looking at various migration flows, diasporas, etc. And actually in a discussion I had yesterday with some of our students, one of our Canadian students made it a point that in Canada, they don't refer to migrants as migrants. They refer to them as new Canadians. And it's a similar idea to what you were saying, Diaspora 2.0. In this room, I think we have many new Romanians. They may not know it yet, but they will very soon. And we've experienced this aspect of new Romanians, or this aspect of Diaspora 2.0. We've experienced it directly. I can tell you a brief anecdote. The first time we began our cooperation with the University of Babeș-Bolyai in Cluj, we actually had a real challenge where we brought a similar group of students from around the world. And again, to be honest, I'll tell you, kind of a secret there was a lot of hesitation for them to actually go to Romania. They didn't know Romania. They had heard many things about Romania. They had a number of misconceptions also about Romania. And it was really quite difficult, I'm sad to say, to convince them, look, go, it'll be great, etc. I brought a number of colleagues to Berlin from Romania. Eventually, we did convince the group to go to Romania. And what really excited me, about a month later, I then went for a visit also to Cluj, and I was literally shocked when I was starting to talk to these students. We actually did a number of interviews. How are you doing? Are you enjoying your studies? They had fallen in love. And honestly, it was really from the bottom of their hearts. They were telling me, Mark, the Romanians are so friendly and flexible and kind and hospitable. We can speak English everywhere in Cluj, this and this. They were literally jumping with excitement. We recorded actually some interviews with them. You can actually find that on our webpage, but that was really a testament to me, as you were saying, the power of Diaspora 2.0. When those students go back to their home countries, and they actually have all returned now, they are actually in many ways the best ambassadors. Of course, a Romanian student abroad will probably say good things about Romania, but to have an African, to have a Canadian, to have an American, to have a Japanese, to have a Chinese student saying the same thing is actually much more effective. They can speak even in a more powerful way to their fellow countrymen when they came back. That's the other part of this conference, and that's the other part also of this trip. We're hoping that we can make maybe a small contribution to the next group of new Romanians, Diaspora 2.0, and I think in terms of nation branding as a whole, this is really something that works. And what better than to actually facilitate access to educational opportunities around the world? What better than to empower students, to move them ahead in their careers, and then at the same time, perhaps also have a small contribution to changing the way that actually Romania is presented abroad, perceived abroad, and also the way in which those relationships are built and are maintained between Romania and other countries. So thank you again very much for the privilege of being here and being able to be here myself, for the privilege of being able to learn from all of you and also the speakers who are about to come. And we very much look forward to the rest of the symposium and the rest of our visits. So thank you very much.